welcome to Something to Talk About. Here we are at King's Inn Mooning. Thank you for having us along. And we're having a really exciting show today. I'm going to be talking to somebody who I cannot honestly believe that I have not spoken to before. Can you believe it? I've actually found a subject that I haven't approached yet. We're going to be talking to the president of the Soroptimist International Guam. We're going to learn all about their 40 years of being in this organization on Guam. And Gina Rojas is the person to talk about it here on Something to Talk About. Welcome to Gina Rojas. It's so nice to see you.
Thank you.
I was just saying that I can't believe this is like the first time I've interviewed you. How is that possible?
We talk all the time.
I know, but it's just that you're like a mover and a shaker, and when movers are how did I overlook you? I guess it was called to my attention because you guys recently had an event where you were celebrating the 40th anniversary of Soroptimist International Guam.
Our 40th anniversary of our charter.
Yeah.
We were chartered on March 8th, 1978.
Look at that.
So we have 40 years of doing good in our community, and I'm so proud.
It's Soroptimist. Is it predominantly a female group, or did it start off to be in the charter? Was it all females only?
All women. Our founding charter members were all very prominent women in the community. Probably a group of about 12 started the organization in 1978. Congresswoman Madeline Berdalio was one of our charter members, Doris Flores Brooks, who's still a member, and Ann Roth, still a member. And they started a legacy for us.
Wow.
Yeah.
The whole idea behind Soroptimist, maybe you could educate us on what the Soroptimists do. What's your mission?
Soroptimist actually means best for women, and our mission is to improve the lives of women and girls through social and economic empowerment. So it sounds pretty generic, but most of our priority programs are on ensuring that women have equal equality, equality in the workplace, access to education, which is key to economic empowerment, access to resources, good health. We touch on domestic violence, family violence. Human trafficking is a huge issue for us, especially women's equality.
Well, this is a time for older organizations to come together because the movement of Me Too and Time's Up, and these are organizations that are or movements that are created because of atrocities that have been committed against women in the workplace, and atrocities that have been committed against women in our own communities. In general.
I just think, starting 40 years ago, we've accomplished a lot, definitely in the last 40 years, but we're still facing the same issues.
Yeah.
It's not new.
Was there a time in the past 40 years where it was better or worse? Is there like a period of time in our history, just specifically Guam, because that's what the charter is, right?
I think there's definitely been progress. I see improvement. We have very strong, intelligent women running large corporations and organizations today who are fantastic role models for the younger generations, which I think is very important. That the girls also can see what can happen to them in their future. That's also one of our programs. It's called Dream It, Be It. And it's an empowerment program for young girls who may not have access to resources. It's career development, education, mentorship.
The hardest thing, I guess, is to watch as much progress as it feels like has been made. We're still dealing with the same issues.
That's what I'm saying.
So the question is, why are we still dealing? Why hasn't anything, not to the fault of the Soroptimists, but why can we not combat some of these inequities in our society?
It's global. Some areas of the world have it much worse than we do. 62 million girls around the world aren't getting an education. But here on Guam, I think we have a lot of opportunities for young women and even older women who want to go back to school. So that's encouraging. And I think if we can still work collectively and make a bigger impact, not only the women's organizations, because there are quite a few here on Guam that do that, but we need to get the men involved, and have them see our vision and our perspective on what's happening with women in the workplace, what's happening with women at home. I just learned this new word called disempowerment. Like there are times when a woman gets disempowered, which is what we're trying to combat, right? Where she has to leave her work to go take care of her family or her children, or she can't do a full-time job, she only can take a part-time job because she has responsibilities at home and with her family. So she's losing out on some of the opportunities that others, mainly men, would have in the same positions or in the same organizations that they work for.
Well, that is one of those situations where I have seen females in the workplace become weakened, if that's what disempowerment is, that become weakened among her maybe male and even sometimes female colleagues.
Absolutely.
Because she's got to tend to the family.
Absolutely. And the women who are in those higher executive management and ownership positions, they have a lot to prove. They have a lot to prove that they earned that position, that they earned to be where they are, that they are earning that salary, even though it's a little bit less than what the men are making. Women have a lot more to work for.
And it's so weird that it happens in this time that we consider to be so modern.
Yeah.
I mean, I think at every turn somewhere in our society we have declared ourselves to be more modern than the last decade.
Right.
But I was just reading an article today. Have you ever watched that show, The Crown, on HBO?
Love it.
Is it HBO or
Love
Netflix?
it. Netflix.
No. Okay, so I just read something today that said that from the producers of The Crown, that Claire Foy, who plays the young Queen Elizabeth, is getting paid, or had been getting paid less than her co-star, her male co-star, who played Prince Philip.
Yeah.
And I
hear
go,
about
wait
that
a minute,
in
this
Hollywood.
is like one of the top, made popular programs
Award-winning,
right? And the admission by one of the producers. So where does the fault lie? Does it fall in the people who are offering the job, or does it fall in the woman who's going to take less than what she feels like she's worth?
I think
What's
it's both, but it's both. But I don't want to fault the woman for not being able to advocate for herself. Maybe she doesn't have the skills to know how to negotiate, and not a lot of women do. Not a lot of women know that you can negotiate for better benefits or a higher salary, more time off of work for your family. Use that as a negotiating tool when you're applying for a job. And a lot of women don't have that confidence to be able to do that.
Is it because that perhaps their mothers?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the first female role model is what your mother was willing to fight for or do.
Right. And there are women who, their mothers stayed home, right? Generations before us stayed home to take care of the family. I'm fortunate. I come from a whole line of female business owners, and knowing what they went through and the opportunities that they had, that's why I'm here. That's why I'm part of Soroptimist, to share that with other people, to know that there are opportunities.
It must be really frustrating, though, and you're just if you're looking in the peripheral, how it is for women who succumb to the intimidation of males who feel like that's their entitlement.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, we are raising young boys to still be the same jerk guys that we always thought were jerk guys, or jerk bosses.
Yeah.
I mean, we still put them in that category, and it's to our own fault that we still empower these boys to feel like they're entitled.
Yeah. There are men out there who would really kind of take someone under their wing and help groom them into a higher position in the workplace, and I think they need to be commended. But in my own personal experience, I've had great male bosses, but I've had some fabulous female bosses who just see the potential and work with you, and we need more women like that to set up mentorships for younger women.
But it also seems to be hard if you're like a female business owner, and especially if I know somebody who's like this. They're a female business owner, and they recognize all of the rungs in the ladder that they had to get to the point where they are, and still be able to work that compromise or balance between her male relationships and then her female relationships, especially those who are her subordinates. And because she works double time in order to secure her place on the rung, she's also got oversight of female employees who have these commitments to their families and who have to take off for school even.
Right.
And then she's like, you know, get it together, don't call in sick, you know, and I mean, it is kind of a cycle. Don't call in sick, try to tough it up. Is there anybody else that you don't have to, you know, so you don't have to leave the workplace? And you go, wait a minute, you know what I mean?
But that's reality. That's what happens every day in various companies and organizations anywhere.
Listen, we're going to take a break. We're going to talk about years of Soroptimist dedication and contributions and how these contributions have translated into making better girls and better women, especially at a really tough time in our society where women are still sort of in a bad place. Yeah, in the workplace and in our society. We'll take a break here. We'll be right back. Got to eat some of this stuff too. We'll be right back. Yay. Welcome back to Something to Talk About. My guest, Gina Rojas. We're talking about the Soroptimist International Guam, celebrating 40 years, chartered on Guam. She is the president. Are you outgoing? Are you like,
Yes,
you're on borrowed time now?
I have a few more months. So
Oh, yeah. What's the term?
1 year for
okay.
presidents. We have a president-elect who follows the year after.
Okay, who's that?
We have
Have you
her
already?
name's Yuka Oguma.
Okay, all right. Have I met her? Have I?
You might have. She works for Guahan Insurance.
Okay.
She's been a member for, I think she's going on 5 years.
Okay.
A little over 5 years, maybe.
All right. So Soroptimist, is the mandate that it's only females that
No.
serve? Okay, so
No,
you've
no,
opened
no.
it up to men?
Absolutely.
Is that recent, like in the last decade? Or?
You know, I don't know if there have been any males in Soroptimist International of Guam, but Soroptimist International of Marianas, the other club here on Guam, has some guys.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. But so far, nobody has asked to. Now, how do you become a member? Do you ask to be, or somebody has to nominate you, or how does it work?
You're invited by a current member, or you're more than welcome to come to any of our monthly meetings or our events. We'd be happy to share Soroptimist with anyone who's interested.
Okay, so somebody, it's by invitation only?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, not at
If you
all.
just show up at the meetings and express an interest in becoming a member.
Absolutely.
How many
Yeah.
members are there in your charter?
We just inducted our 3 for this year, so we're at 40.
Wow.
40 for this
Wow,
year on our 40th.
were you planning to
Not
do that?
at
You
all.
wanted to 40 for 40.
It's just coincidence. Yeah, it was
well,
awesome.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Are you getting because over the years, like you said, you had some charter founding members, and over the years, these ages of the females, are they getting sort of younger, or how are we phasing in and out these?
We have
membership?
women of all ages in our group, and actually we rely on the women who were there before us to help us, guide us
Yeah.
down the right path.
Yeah. Tell me what it is that you guys do. Is it predominantly raising money for educations and scholarships?
That's our key programs, but we do a lot more here in this community. So our Live Your Dream program is our education award. That's $1,000 to a woman who's a head of household who's pursuing a higher education. She can use that money for whatever she needs to use it for. If she needs help with tuition, she can. Childcare, gas to get to school, books. So it's just a little financial support to help her along the way. The Dream It Be It program that I mentioned earlier is for young women, young girls in secondary school to help them understand that there are opportunities for them when they graduate, and they can have any career that they choose. So it's really inspiring and motivating them through mentorship programs. So those are the 2 key Soroptimist programs. But here on Guam, we concentrate on domestic and family violence. We have a Purple Polish campaign that we started 2 years ago. We're in our 3rd year, actually. And we sell nail kits, and the proceeds go to organizations that offer domestic violence and family violence services. We encourage women, or anyone actually, to wear purple polish during the month of October, just to show our solidarity, and as a symbol of bruises, and it's the color for...
Oh, the color of bruises.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
So that's a tough one.
Yeah.
That's a tough one, because that is probably one of our biggest crimes here.
Yes.
The magistrate's complaints are all about that.
They don't realize that there are 5 types of domestic and family violence. So, recognizing the symptoms and the signs of abuse doesn't happen all the time. Kind of gets overlooked. And some women who are, they feel mamalau that they can't come forward is a huge issue here.
Yeah. I'm at the same time that I recognize that there are women who are too ashamed to come forward and say that they are being abused by family members or their spouses. There's also so much concentration on that I have seen in the past several months crimes where women are screaming bloody murder in public, that they are being attacked or abused by their loved one right at this second, and they're screaming for help from bystanders.
Wow.
There was a situation just the past week where there was a woman who was being beaten up by her boyfriend or husband, her significant other, and just hitting her, and she, they got into a car and then they pulled over and he hit her again, and she was screaming out the window, rolling down the window, yelling for people to come and help her, and where she finally, but it's that sort of cycle, but if you're giving money to the organizations though that handle the cases like that, that means that you're not necessarily one-on-one with victims. There's not any of that sort of outreach other than...
As far as I know, none of our current members have gone through the training, so there's a pretty rigorous training to be a counselor for domestic and family violence.
Is that the trend to go, or is it, is just to set you apart from actually speaking directly to victims or
yeah, I think
cases?
that would be a great opportunity for us to have a different perspective on what's really happening with those victims.
It just seems like there's also a lot, because I know that Soroptimists are really concentrated a lot on not only domestic violence, but human trafficking.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh,
that's a
human
rather
trafficking
big issue. And we learn about it, constantly. It's a constant learning process for us to know the differences between sex trafficking and human trafficking. And we've had opportunities to attend trainings and seminars to learn more about that. We had a great story from a woman who survived it at our conference last year in California, our region conference. And she was just so inspiring, telling us how she was from Chico, California, and how her life had changed when she met this man who promised her, all of these things and a better life. And she ended up, being a sex slave for almost 10 years, I think.
Oh my gosh.
But she survived it. And now she is an advocate, and she's teaching, and she does a lot of research online, and she's amazing. She's an amazing woman. So we need more women like that to show us what's really happening. When you think about a small town like Chico, our side of the world, we hear about it coming from the Asian countries. We don't realize it's happening here.
Right.
It's happening right in our backyard.
Well, I mean, the case in point was the Blue House.
Yeah.
The Blue House case, because it was happening right under our noses. And I know that you suspect that in some of these establishments that there is an active sex trade. Yeah. Well, clearly we have, businesses, entertainment that way, but there is an undercover sex trade that exists here.
Absolutely.
But it's just really difficult to get your hands on it.
Absolutely.
And
that's what we want to bring to light. It's really difficult to talk to these women, right? And it's difficult to have access to these women. And I think that's a bigger issue, especially on the law enforcement side and the justice side. But for women who, like us, who want to provide services for them afterwards, once they're set free, and hopefully they're set free, where do they go to next, right? They have no money, they have nowhere to live, nowhere to go. What can we do to help them make that transition?
Sort of like a halfway house or a shelter of some kind. But the bottom line is that education is the most empowering.
Education is the foundation of economic empowerment, and that's proven, research has proven that. So offering a woman access to education, even to complete high school, is important.
Is it harder and harder to convince young girls that finishing high school is really the key to their future?
I think it's what happens after high school. We need to inspire them to want to reach higher and know that they can run an organization if they want. They can own their own business and be their own boss. They can run a bank. They can be a high-ranking official in the National Guard. There are some really inspiring women here.
Yeah, you just honored a few of them.
Yes, I did.
Who were on your charter day, right? Who did you honor this last time?
We honored our founding members, so our charter members who, Doris Rosebooks, like I mentioned, and Roth, who's been with banking forever. Our congresswoman is a founding member.
Okay.
Yeah.
So those are the three that were, did you not have a keynote speaker?
We did. It was Carlotta Leon.
Yeah, so how was she? Because that's what I was
awesome.
curious. I didn't know that was happening, otherwise I would have crashed your party.
No, you should have. It was fun.
Yeah, she
had some words of wisdom, and she does a lot of work with Island Girl Power, who we support as well. So, bridging that gap between, where we women are and the work that we do with nonprofit organizations and what we can do to help the girls who are our next generation, and what kind of examples can we set for them, and what kind of paths can we lay out for them for their future.
Yeah. So again, if anybody wants to join or they want to be a recipient of the benefits, where can they go? Do you have a website?
We don't have a website, but we're on Facebook, and we just launched our Instagram account. My daughter had to help me with that.
I don't know anything about that. Yeah. I have one, but I still don't know what to do with it. Yeah.
So we do have information available online. We have a general email. The Soroptimist.org website has information about what Soroptimist is on a global level. Okay. Lots of information on there. There's some really good information on economic empowerment and women's equality that's available on there. Really good reading.
Really good reading and really good topics, and very timely to what's happening in our world now. Gina, thank you.
Thank you.
What an honor it is to find a friend that you have and then go, hey, wait a minute, there's other stuff that's important about you. I forgot about it. Thanks so much for coming around with us.
Hope to see you at Celebration from Malone.
Oh yeah,
that's June 1st.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing. That's your big event.
Our big celebration.
I love that event, the big concert with all female artists,
all female local performers in this show, and it's going to be amazing.
I think it's like the 70s, right?
It's the 70s theme, because we were chartered in '78.
Crazy.
So afros and bell bottoms encouraged.
And platform shoes, if you can walk in them. Thanks so much, girl.
Thank you.
We appreciate you being here. Kings, thank you so much for your hospitality and great food. They got a great Lenten menu, which we are eating off of every single time that we tape this program. Thanks for coming along with See on the Radio.